Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this Wishing You Everything Wonderful card. The bottle and the label on the bottle have come from the Bottled Happiness set. The sentiment has come from the Charming Sentiments, and the die for it is the Sentiment Silhouettes. Each one of these greetings has a die that will cut it out absolutely exactly. So it's really quite good. And the main showstopper in this one is the bouquet of flowers from the Amazing Year set. So to put this together, I have also used a piece of designer series paper from the Abigail Rose designer series paper. And I have used the Organic Beauty lattice die, as well as a stitched rectangle die. So there is a lot going on with this card. As I say, it just kind of organically made itself. So I'm just going to pop that up there. There's an awful lot going on over there as well. I have put adhesive sheets on the back of this, and when you die cut it out, you get all of these diamonds, and they've got adhesive on them, so you can keep them for another project or whatever you'd like to do. So there's all my pieces. I've pre-done some because it's going to be a lot with this one. So I'm using basic gray for the bottle, so I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to press it down like that. So there we go. And I used basic gray for the greeting as well. The label I did in the craft white. So I'm just going to make sure that that's inked up really well. Popped it down right over top like that, wanting to get that kind of see-through kind of look there. And then the bouquet, as you can see, the bouquet is has the ribbon around it with enjoy your day on it. I only want the flowers at the top, so I'm only going to ink up the top of the die or the stamp. If I've inked too much, I'm just going to grab a tissue out of the bin because I threw it away too early. And now it's got stickies all over it, but that's okay. So sorry, as I take some time away from the screen there. So I'm just going to clean off the ink that I don't want, just like that. Give it a bit of a huff. And I'm going to put this down right over top of the bottle, like that. Now, the reason I did the bottle first is so that I could place the flowers over top. I can see where I'm going with this because I know where the bottle is, so I knew where to place the bouquet. So let's put the lid back on the Memento ink, and I did the bouquet in Memento ink so that I could use my Stampin' Blends markers. I'm using the dark Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to come in and do the bottom of a few of the leaves just to give it some dimension. There is just a little bit of coloring in this, and it'll take me just a minute to do, but I've done so much of the video or the card already that I didn't want to not do anything on the video. So we're going to just blend this out, and just carefully, because I don't want to go too far out of the lines. You can use the pencil or the thinner end if you want, or just don't press down very hard with the brush end. The brush end will get me through the coloring just a little bit faster here on the video. There is a greater potential for going outside the lines though, because the brush is wider, and if you press down on it, it will get wider. So I'm just going to move that up, making sure that I'm still in frame. Sorry, I didn't know if I was in frame there or not. Okay, so just bringing some color into those leaves, blending it up. And I used the Mango Melody for the center of the flowers. There's one more leaf right there. And then I used the Highland Heathers for the petals. So I just kind of went around like that just to give it a bit of a color in the middle. Now, let's see if I can do this without the end coming off. There we go. So I'm just going to take the dark Highland Heather and just do a little bit of highlighting kind of around, and just a couple of dots in there. And then I'm going to take the light Highland Heather and I'm going to blend it. I like how this all looks together. This is just so striking. And I like this, the Amazing Year stamp set. It's got some really nice, pretty and simple stamps in it. There's a present with a tag on it, and you could do so many things with it. One thing I like about the one that's the present, I'll just get it out so you can see. If you were to take this one and stamp this onto designer series paper, then cut it out, you'd have wrapping paper. You would look like the gift was already wrapped for you. And then you could do whatever you wanted with the ribbon. You could use some of the crinkled white ribbon and you could color it with your blends, or you could just use it white. There we go. So there we are. So that's all colored in, and now I need to run it through with the stitched rectangle die, like this. What I want to do is try and center the bottle as much as possible. The bouquet is kind of off to the side, but trying to center the bottle so that that's the most obvious thing to keep centered. This is where your eye is going to be drawn to first, and then probably the Highland Heather flowers. So let's just run this through and then we can assemble the card. And because I've done all the other die cutting already, it's going to be really quick to assemble the card. The other thing that I used on the card is some of the iridescent pearl basic jewels, just to give it a little bit of oomph. You could color them if you wanted to with your blends. If you're going to color them, I would recommend you color them ahead of time and build your card and then use the jewels, because sometimes different ones take different times to dry, and you can end up with a bit of a halo on your card around the jewel if it's not completely dry. Okay, so this is again the paper from the Abigail Rose set, just a 5 1/4 by 4 on a basic card base. When you do the die for the lattice, you want to use a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 piece, because this cuts down to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 4. So if you cut your paper just that little bit bigger, it will be so much easier to do. So with the adhesive sheets, they come in 2-inch sections. So I just have to peel off the 3 sections on here to find the other edge and just gently work it free. But the adhesive sheets are a lifesaver for projects like this, where you've got this fine lattice work. It makes it so much easier to work with. So we'll just do that, peel all of that off. Now, because this is really, it's adhesive, I lightly line it up at the bottom. And if it's lined up at the bottom, it's going to be lined up all the way up. I just make sure that it's all lined up, and then I just give it a good push to make sure all of the edges are down like that. Then I take my centerpiece with the flowers, I dimensionalize it like this, and then I'm going to put it on the front of the card, and then I'll add the greeting. So we're just going to put this, kind of line it up. That's the nice thing about this lattice work too, is it makes it really easy to line up your pieces. I'm going to dimensionalize this as well, but I'm only going to put dimensionals on the bottom because it's going to overlap the card. And if I put dimensionals on the top of it, it's going to kind of tip forward. It will look a bit awkward. So only put dimensionals on the bottom like this, and then just line it up, pop it down like that. Then you can take your basic jewels, iridescent pearls, basic jewels, and I'm just using a pair of tweezers to pick these up because they're really little. I'm going to put one up there, one maybe over here, and one down here. So there we have it, the Amazing Year Charming Sentiments and Bottled Happiness sets, all put together using the Organic Beauty dies, the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper, the Sentiment Silhouettes dies, and a stitched rectangle die. So as I say, lots of products in this one, but it is a really beautiful card. So thank you so much for watching, and let's create together again soon.